YouTube has strict community guidelines over what we can and cannot say about COVID-19 vaccines and treatments. If YouTube deems we've somehow violated these guidelines, we risk YouTube cutting off our ability to communicate to you. With that said, the discussions which follow are not meant to provide medical advice. Please seek the advice of local health officials for any COVID-19 and/or COVID vaccine-related questions and concerns. Today, Bill de Blasio announces the first-in-the-nation vaccine mandate on private businesses. Chris Cuomo is out at CNN, and word on the street is Kamala Harris is a bully. I don't believe it. Do you? I don't know. We'll get into it, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez. Happy Monday. I am with fan favorites, Eric July, BlazeTV contributor, also host of For Canon's Sake, which you can find on YouTube. He is Young Rippa 5'9" in the flesh. Also, I feel like it's a bromance. We got to have Jaco Booyens, host of the Jaco Booyens show, also BlazeTV contributor. You can find him on YouTube as well, Instagram. I mean, go to all the socials. Follow all the people here. All right. But anytime I have you guys on without the other one, people get very upset.
I've told you before, I get upset.
Yeah.
I walked in here and I said, hey, you've been dissing me. It's like, not me, bro. I'm like, I'm just kidding. No, our schedules have just not worked out. But no, it's good to be with you.
Yeah,
always. He's my brother.
We're glad to have you guys. We're glad to have you guys here. Also, Jaco is the only African-American at the table.
Very true.
So
technically, it's very true.
I just love pointing that out.
And that is how secure Eric is. For those of you who didn't know.
All right, so we've got a lot of interesting stories to cover. So let's start with Bill de Blasio, who is now going to impose the first-in-the-nation vaccine mandate on private companies. He says that this is a preemptive strike against the Omicron variant and a possible winter surge of COVID-19. Let's listen to the mayor himself. Watch.
We've got Omicron as a new factor. We've got the colder weather, which is going to really create additional challenges with the Delta variant. We've got holiday gatherings. We in New York City have decided to use a preemptive strike to really do something bold to stop the further growth of COVID and the dangers it's causing to all of us. So as of today, we're going to announce a first-in-the-nation measure. Our health commissioner will announce a vaccine mandate for private sector employers across the board. All private sector employers in New York City will be covered by this vaccine mandate as of December 27th. We're going to have some other measures as well to really focus on maximizing vaccination quickly so we can get ahead of Omicron and all the other challenges we're facing right now with COVID.
So as you could see there, vaccine proof required for entry to, indoor entertainment things, retail for ages 5 and up. I'll just call it a vaccine passport. That is what it is if you need to show proof to anyone. So this covers children aged 5 through 11 even. And the program now requires 2 vaccine doses instead of 1. But I can't imagine that will even last for too long because they keep telling everyone you have to get your booster in order to be fully protected. So eventually that Overton window, I think, is going to shift to 3. Then I'm sure we'll see 4 because as we have seen, this never ends and you will be stuck in this hellhole until you say enough is enough. Eric.
They're on a power trip, and I hate to see stuff like this happening. It's like almost like overseas where we see examples of this was kind of the testing ground. And then a lot of leaders that were on this side of the world looked and said, okay, they pulled it off. Let's slowly but surely pull it off on our side. And here we go with a vaccine mandate that extends to, which is what they always wanted.
Yeah.
I always thought that it was kind of this false dichotomy. Sometimes even on this show, we talk about how there are, whether or not it is a business's right to require someone to have a vaccine or something like that. And I always thought it wasn't even worth discussing, because we always knew that the government themselves were the ones that were trying to make this happen. So even when you had the mandates or passports, they were all coming from the government, and they were using these sort of extortive measures by, okay, we'll find a business, we'll force you to enforce it, and we'll find the business, or we'll have our grants and we'll kind of hold them hostage or hold you hostage by doing that. And this is what they ultimately wanted. And now they're just bold enough, because once they realize there's no pushback, we did it the first time, we just did it, we just had it apply to this tiny sector, y'all didn't do anything. So why not keep it going? But he is on an absolute power trip, the bozo and everybody that really supports these guys. We know none of this has anything to do with science. It has nothing to do with health. It's not like they're going to stop the spread by way of doing this, when the beloved CDC has already conceded that this does not prevent transmission. That's not my opinion. That's what they said. YouTube can't strike us for that, because they said it, not me. I'm just listening to the experts that they told me to listen to. And that's what they stated. So why on earth are we implementing such a policy? It's because they're on a power trip. So now I'm looking at it like this, because I can sit up here and talk, I'm blue in the face. I talk about LA or rather California and their moronic stuff. And now we're going with New York City. And they keep trying to outdo each other, or who can have the most restrictive measures that don't work for any of those areas. It seems like us in Florida are the guys that have lower transmission rates, community transmission rates, according to the CDC's website. So I just really don't want to be sharing governments with people that, unfortunately, on that side of the country, seem to think policies like this are okay, because that's how they get sort of implemented and pushed out there towards the federal level, and then they start to impact certainly us out here in Texas. But this is just another guy on a power trip, and I will continue to say, for the folks that are out there in those areas that say 1776 and all those sorts of stuff, look, your founders that you praise went to war for much less than what they're doing to you right now.
Yeah, no. Look, I'll say this is that incremental approach, right? And they hide behind unions, and then they force it on the employer. Now they're going to cross the barrier here that we're going to see, where they're just going to straight up come and say, so says the government. Yeah. Forget about the union or your employer. We're just going to come down with a mandate, which the next level is what we discussed, last week, is absolutely a passport on your phone, like they have in Europe, where it is an app where it show your papers. We're talking about show your papers to a 5-year-old to be able to go play sport indoor. Pause for a second and think about what we're saying. This is overreach at a level that is so unconstitutional. I mean, but I'll say this to all you conservatives in New York that are fence-sitting conservatives, right, that do not have the kahunas to ever stand up to this. Even to the Jewish community that hate things like abortion and all these things, that just have gone along with the ride through COVID, gone along with closing the parks and closing the churches.
Which is bad in New York, because they've targeted Jews.
They've targeted Jews in New York, particularly this guy. Yeah. This guy targeted. This is the net result. This is what you get. And now it's so far overreach. You go, how in the world do we get this back? It's going to be really hard to get this back. So for every other state, this is the MO. There's no more cover. Now it's just like, hey, this is us. Yeah. What you gonna do about it, right? Yeah. And so it is revolution time. It's time to say, take a country back, city by city, state by state, because I'm telling you, there was a time when people were thrown on a train because they didn't have papers and they wouldn't comply, and they were off to doomsday.
And they wonder how that stuff like that happens in those periods of time. Yeah. Just like this. Because they normalize this behavior. And more importantly, what they do is try to turn the citizenry on each other to get them to enforce stuff like this. And so for those folks that are out there that say, that can never, ever happen. Well, look at what we're doing right now. You're trying to build this sort of two-tiered sort of society, a culture, a country, where you have the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated, which again is a false dichotomy to say the least, but that's what they're trying to pit everybody against each other in that regard.
Eric, we got in the city of Dallas, Texas, children going against children in middle school.
Yes.
Framing kids, making up a narrative. We're working on a case of that. Framing a kid for having done something that he didn't do because he's not willing to comply, because his parents don't comply. We're talking about Dallas, Texas. Can you imagine what it's like in a school right now in New York, when a 5-year-old kid's parents dare not have him do certain things? The scrutiny, the abuse, the bullying, it's insane, which is why we're seeing teen suicide rate through the roof. They are pinning Look, that's a Sun Tzu art of war. If I don't like you, I don't need to fight you. I get someone else to fight you. And you fight each other, and I take the spoils. What's the spoils? Your constitutional rights, your country, your freedom. They want the spoils. And that's what it is. Pin the public against one another, create anarchy, and walk away with the spoils.
You do have to wonder how long even people in New York are willing to continue going along with this, because, I mean, you look at, I'm sure a good chunk of them were like, yeah, I'll get the vaccine, I'll get one dose, you know, just to be able to do this. They have to themselves see the line keep moving, right? But also, it's this weird place where, what did he say? De Blasio said, you know, because of this is a preemptive strike against the Omicron variant and a possible winter surge. And it's like, okay, now you guys are acting like we've never had winter sickness before, and that's just weird. We're living in a place now where they're almost passively rewriting history as if we've never had to deal with winters and seasonality of viruses.
Well,
it's just weird.
Again, what was happening is that they were able to get away with using those similar excuses to justify a lot of their executive powers and executive actions. It doesn't make sense, of course. It's like, I mean, think about this whole COVID situation in the first place. None of it really makes sense in the context of how we've historically reacted to illnesses or viruses that were very, very similar, including the common cold, which is a coronavirus, which tends to, in the winter, of course, impact a lot of people. Yet we didn't react like any of this, but it doesn't make sense. So it's like more so how people are operating like it's a precedent. Okay, we got away with it. Doesn't make sense? No, it didn't have to. Well, we got away with it and we used this excuse and you went along with it now. This is why we had been saying for so long, like, it stops when you want it to stop, and like you can't comply with it because you're not gonna, like, you're seeing what happens right now. They won't
stop.
Exactly. You can't comply your way out.
There is no end. There is no end to this.
You'll never be fully vaccinated.
No, it'll be booster number 7. But the interesting part, though, is there used to be a little bit of truth with a lot of lie. Now it's just lie. We've never had illnesses in the winter, and Omicron is this deathly virus with the nation where they say it all started, South Africa, and it says, whoa, no issue to see here. No issue to see here. It's not even a big deal. It's just another excuse because they're so used to the American people just swallowing the lie. But you asked, when will they stop? Something interesting happened this week. Trevor Noah, who's a fellow South African, who I disown as a South African. Okay? He's an absolute. He's not funny. He's not funny. He's an excuse. I don't claim he's a South African, but did you see his post this week of him saying, "Hey, whoa, overreaching? Yeah, because they're coming into your pocket now because you got your 2 jabs and your booster, and all of a sudden they're not stopping. They're not stopping. They will never stop." Okay, they're going to keep coming. It will be booster number 100.
And it's not 6 months anymore. You saw the UK talking about it. I can't remember his name, Savit Jait. He's like the one of those public health experts out there. He's saying that they wanted to cut it from 6 months to 3 months. So basically, you're going to end up in a 365 day period. You're talking 4, 5, 6, 7 jabs, and they're not joking around.
No.
So I know
it's going to be like insulin for every
that's basically what it's.
By the way, they've never. To my knowledge, they haven't studied the safety of giving people many of them in that short amount of time.
It's almost like some people have things to gain from just you guys. And you have to. I hate to do that, but we have to put our tinfoil hats on here. Because none of it makes sense. Because it doesn't make sense. So I have to look at that and say, why on earth? We've never done that. What freaking virus do you do that for? Have we ever done it where you're talking about over a 365-day period, you take four of them? What? And like, of course, I want to question the efficiency rate.
Why all the other illnesses? All the other illnesses.
All of them. We never do that. But we're supposed to just accept this. Like, hey, this is normal. Cut it in half. 5 to 11. They want your kids being jabbed up for 4, 5, and 6. That makes no sense. Man.
And they won't stop at 5.
No.
I can promise
trying
you
to get the infants now
at
too.
Birth. They're gonna
Newborns.
booster your kid at birth, out of the womb. Booster that kid. Give him that K shot, and with the K shot, vitamin
K shot, the hepatitis shot, which is also weird.
Also super weird. And soon they were saying, "Mom, in vitro. We need to in vitro." They won't stop. They will not stop unless we stop them.
On that note, I know we got to take a quick break, but I do just want to let the audience know. I don't know if you've heard, but there is Senator Mike Braun from, I believe, Indiana, he has presented a resolution that would bar Joe Biden's vaccine mandate into the Senate. All 50 Senate Republicans have backed it, including Joe Manchin said that he does support the Braun resolution. So this will likely pass in the Senate. Nancy Pelosi obviously has said that it is unlikely it will come up for a vote even in the House, which is not surprising. But let it be known, the Senate Republicans and Joe Manchin are like doing the bare minimum. I guess. I think that's all that can be said about that.
Slide by.
Right. It's like they voted on it. Cool. Knowing, I'm sure, that it won't go anywhere. All right. We've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, ExpressVPN. So when you go to the bathroom, you always close the door behind you because, like, it's really, you don't want any creepers looking at you because you're going to the bathroom. OK, so similarly, you would not want people to look in on you when you go online. And you may be thinking, I'm not doing anything nefarious online. Why do I care if people see my data? It's just weird, guys. All right, it's weird for people to see your data. OK, did you know that your internet service provider knows every single website that you visit? They can also sell this information to ad companies and tech giants who will not only profit off of it, but they will use your data to target you. Again, creepy. Don't let this happen. ExpressVPN will put a stop to it. It creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so that your online activity cannot be seen by anyone. I'm using ExpressVPN right now. I use it on my devices. It works on everything. You do it for your phone, your laptop, your router. So everyone who shares your Wi-Fi can even be protected, even if they don't have ExpressVPN loaded on their device. It's very, very easy. It does not make your system lag. It is really, you just click one button and you are protected. So if you are like me and believe your online activity is your business, which you should, secure yourself by visiting expressvpn.com/Y today. You can use this exclusive link to get an extra 3 months free over at expressvpn.com/Y. That is expressvpn.com/Y. CNN has, in fact, fired Chris Cuomo after they left him on suspension indefinitely. This was, of course, during what they said was an investigation into what he had done, Chris Cuomo had done in regards to his brother, former Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York. I know you guys, you watch the show. You're no stranger to this story. This is like real life mafia happening right before your very eyes. Andrew Cuomo had this awful investigation. Chris Cuomo, his brother, who also happens to work for CNN, not only helping craft his PR statements in regards to, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, but also using his media contacts to try to dig around and see if he could find any other accusations that may surface. Really, really, really gross stuff. I think it left a lot of people wondering, were they just going to wait for all of this to blow over after the holidays and quietly let him come back? Or was this just kind of another sort of slow rollout, but on the opposite side, which is let's just slowly, we'll break the news that he's suspended. And then once people stop listening, we'll just kind of quietly fire him. It sounds like they obviously have chosen that route. So Chris Cuomo tweeted out, "This is not how I want my time at CNN to end, but I have already told you why and how I helped my brother. So let me now say, as disappointing as this is, I could not be more proud of the team at Cuomo Primetime and the work we did as CNN's #1 show in the most competitive time slot. I owe them all and will miss that group of special people who did really important work." I noticed he doesn't talk about his current ratings. I wouldn't either if I were Chris Cuomo. But it is interesting because as all of that news surfaced, there also was an article on the Wall Street Journal that said that Jeff Zucker, CNN president Jeff Zucker, knew about his efforts, Chris Cuomo's efforts to help his brother navigate PR in regards to all of the accusations of sexual harassment. I would imagine you guys are shocked to hear that Jeff Zucker already knew that Chris Cuomo was doing this and that Jeff Zucker totally thought everything was on the up and up. Nothing to see here, which was why Chris Cuomo constantly had his brother on for like the stand-up comedy hour during the height of COVID when people were dying in his brother's state. Yes, but then all of a sudden when his brother is involved in a scandal, he's like, oh, I can't report on that. That's a conflict of interest. Sorry. And I'm sure you guys are shocked to hear that Jeff Zucker may have been in the know about all of this.
They're all in the know. I mean, that's not anything new. I think, if anything, it just shows when it comes to the authoritarian left, like what all has to happen for them to be ousted.
Yeah.
And it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's an absolute lot. They're corrupt, they're criminal, but it has to get that bad in order for them to have to see any sort of consequence. I mean, we see CNN, they've let goofy people do goofy things and get back on CNN. They're notorious for that.
Goofy is actually a really nice way of describing that.
Oh, so kind.
Yeah, I know. This is really
Goofy is not the adjective I would have used. This is not the descriptor I would have used.
These guys are weird, but that's how it works. I mean, so it's not surprising that they all were like in on it in some way, or they knew or they were knowledgeable on it. To me, that's not surprising. I think the story is how bad, before a Cuomo sees consequence, how bad does it have to be? His brother has to be doing these very uber disgusting things, and it's not that his brother was just covering for him. He got caught with it, and of course that started to surface, and then they turned on him and were like, all right, cool, we'll get him up out of there. Now, of course, everybody else, and we talk about this all the time, the level of hypocrisy. We can say this all day long, that if it was this person, imagine what would have happened. It wouldn't have ever got to this point. Yeah, we all know that, but just look at that in the context of the simple fact that they really don't see consequences until it gets very, very bad. And it shows the level of control that they have regarding the entire culture, that they can do criminal, corrupt, objectively bad things. And there's usually, they could stick around, because the fact that Cuomo was even able to stick around as long as he did, specifically when we found out that he was crafting these statements and they still left him on. Nothing happened to him. So it sucks, but that's something that has to get addressed by people that are not about the authoritarian left. That has to get addressed because it shows how much power that they actually have.
And then, Jaco, to his point, the other Cuomo was allowed to kill thousands of nursing home patients.
Yeah,
very true.
Yeah.
And that's all fine and good. He gets an Emmy, right?
Well,
he gets an international Emmy. He gets a book deal out of it. And it wasn't even that that was bad enough to take him out.
Well, why do one thing? While you're killing people, abuse some others, I mean, heck, just do it all. Or maybe run some drugs in New York, run a mob boss. You know, the thing. What thing? The thing. You know, but here's the deal, though. Yes, I agree 100% with you, but it also doesn't take that much to really just start applying pressure. It just needs to get into the public. And because they control what goes to the public, they can block and tackle. And by the way, we're so surprised that Zucker, no, we're not. You can't score a touchdown without blocking and tackling happening. So the mere fact that either one of those two guys held any office, right, there's blocking and tackling happening. But here's what I say where we always make the mistake, Eric. Okay, he's fired. Do not stop pressing now. Now you look into Zucker. Now you go after him. You go after all the staffers, all the secretaries, the assistants. You just keep going because that's what they do. They're like a dog on a bone and they don't let go. Yeah. But what we normally do is Harvey Weinstein goes to jail, we stop looking.
True.
So what do they actually do? When the pressure mounts, they sacrifice one of their own like they just did, and then we stop looking. Now's the time to go, oh no, not satisfied yet. Now, Zucker, we're coming for you. We're coming for the whole organization. We're going to keep digging. We're going to keep going after discovery. And I'm telling you, they will drop like flies because they will sacrifice their own. But typically, when that happens, same with Epstein, same with Weinstein, same with these guys, we stop looking. We stop talking about it. I'm going, no. Zucker blocked and tackled. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get his emails. What did he talk about? What did he do? Is he complicit? Did he know about, any of the sexual abuse cases? And was there payoff money? I'm saying keep going. Get vicious with going after them because that's what they do. And that's how they play the game.
It's interesting that you bring that up because even in regards to Andrew Cuomo, is he ever going to see charges?
No, it's
right?
enough now. He lost his job and he lost his Emmy, so we're satisfied.
Yeah,
I'm not satisfied.
I think
Chris
everyone's
isn't done.
forgotten.
He for sure isn't done. Like someone
He'll
else
go
will pick him
else.
up, or he'll go do something else.
He does have a radio show still.
Yeah, and it's like it'll never. It's
gotta
like
get
it
a
almost
book
never
deal
happened.
from this. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he'll be fine. But that's because they control so much of the cultural aspect, and that they don't really see optics. But they don't really see a lot of consequences to where if someone on the opposite side does something goofy, he's done. He's buried. You probably won't see him. Removed from the freaking internet, kind of banished. That's what happens to them. But with those guys, they control so much. And yeah, I mean, to your point, everybody knows that they have to be in on it. This type of information doesn't just go through the pipeline without nobody vetting it or without anybody seeing it. They all knew. And yeah, it may be something worth doing in applying that sort of pressure and really trying to get all of them, because we know they're corrupt. We know they're crooked. It's freaking CNN of all people. We know that they're absolutely in on it. To what degree, I guess, is more so the question. And what are we going to do about it?
Yeah, no, look, they were so quick to go after Fox News with sexual harassment and abuse, and they made Bombshell the movie out of it.
Yeah, I was about to say,
that's what I mean. They don't stop.
Yeah.
They do not stop, and nor should we. We should say, no, we want to root out all corruption. But here's what they do also. Make no mistake. The backroom deals, like, dude, we're going to fire you, but don't worry. We got this sideshow for you. We got another gig for you. So you're going to step out, and that's what happened with his brother as a governor. It's like, you're going to step out, but we got you. There's a safety net. But how else do you shoot someone on a film set and then you get a special out of it and your stock goes up?
That's true.
That's a good point.
How does that happen?
That's a good point.
So Yaku is saying let's not stop and let's look into everyone. I would just love if it was Brian Stelter, because I just cannot stand that bald woman every time I listen to her. All right, we've got more to come, but first I want to thank our sponsor, Bambi. So if you are an entrepreneur, you realize this, okay? If you are running a business, HR issues can completely kill you. It can halt all of your progress that you are doing in your company. You can be held liable for wrongful termination suits. You have all these minimum wage requirements. You have labor regulations. There's a lot of red tape when you own a business. And by the way, you could think, well, I'll just hire an HR manager, but those salaries are really expensive, actually, an average of $70,000 a year. That is where Bambi comes in. It is spelled B-A-M-B-E-E. They were created specifically for you, the small business owner. They will give you a dedicated HR manager that they can craft your HR policy, maintain all of your compliance for $99 a month. All right, so look, I'm not the best at math. Pretty sure $99 a month is way cheaper than $70,000 a year. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that, okay? Bambi can handle your onboarding. They can handle your terminations. The dedicated HR manager is available by phone, email, real-time chat, however you would prefer to communicate. They can customize your policies to fit your business, help you manage your employees day to day so you can focus on the reason that you got into business, which is making money. All right, it is $99 a month to month, no hidden fees. You can cancel anytime. You didn't start your business because you wanted to spend time on HR compliance. So let's let Bambi help. They'll give you a free HR audit today if you go over to Bambi.com/matters to schedule that free HR audit. Go over there. It is Bambi.com/matters, BAMBEE.com/matters. Vice President Kamala Harris continues to just be embroiled in a lot of scandals, a lot of allegations you definitely don't want if you are the first female vice president of the United States. Apparently, there was an anonymous former staffer for Harris that harshly criticized her to one outlet, saying it's clear that you're not working with somebody who is willing to do the prep and the work. With Kamala, you have to put up with a constant amount of soul-destroying criticism and also her own lack of confidence. So you're constantly sort of propping up a bully, and it's not really clear why. We've heard all of these whisperings she's had several staff departures all around the same time, all of these whisperings of the staff not being happy. I know there was one staffer that claimed that it was due to racism, that Joe Biden was not treating Kamala fairly. But there is, at least we know now, at least one staffer who is very, very happy, very secure in his job. It is David Gins, who tweeted out after all of this news surfaced, "Hi, my name is David Gins. I work for Vice President Harris on behalf of the American people as Deputy Director for Operations and absolutely love my job. Just thought some of you should know." And if you guys are watching on video, you can see there's a picture in the background of Kamala and David at that desk. Look, David, blink twice if you need help. Do you need help, David? Just blink twice, and we will send help for you.
Show us the help signs.
Yes.
Show us the
Morse
help sign.
code. We'll be listening. Okay, just tell us, David. It is really interesting. You have to wonder how forced that was. I work for Vice President Harris. I absolutely love my job. I love my job. Just thought some of you should know. Christina Pushaw, who works with Ron DeSantis, retweeted just him, said 1,000-yard stare. And I think we have one more from Andrew Follett, who's this is so great. He said it's a call for help, even has an encoded secret message. And in those red circles, it says, I am a hostage. So I don't think things are going good over with Vice President Kamala Harris in her office, gentlemen.
Well, you got to understand that definitely in today's day and age, like politicians or people that are even kind of moving up the chain. I mean, we just did the last segment about Cuomo, for example. You almost have to be a scumbag in order to be successful in those positions. They're not generally sought out. And I talked about this last week on Elijah and Sydney's show. You Are Here, and I discussed how the best among us don't even try to be in those positions for the most part, because they go do better things and generally more influential things in the culture, become innovators and such. Usually it's the worst of the worst kind of people that go to try to obtain that sort of power, because of course they can wield it to do some crazy things. But Kamala doesn't actually jump off the charts in terms of like her being extremely knowledgeable or even a good person. We know kind of her working her way up. There's been some slimy things that she's done along the way. But to be fair, I think that is something that is among a lot of those guys, if not, I know for a fact most of them. You kind of got to be a scumbag. When you become the governor of New York City, almost you have to assume that person is a grimy person. Like those, historically, it's been that way. Chicago's another one. Historically, it's been that way. People that are involved in sort of on the side, bad sort of things and with the mob and all that. Yeah. That's what politicians are. They're the worst among us, not the best. I know we're conditioned. A lot of us are conditioned to think that those are the people that rule over us.
They're our leaders.
They're our leaders. They have to be good, amazing people. But most of them are scumbags.
Yeah.
Kamala.
Yeah, look, when you, I was going to say when you are, but I'll be nice and I'll say when you behave like the wicked witch from the West. At some point, your broom's going to run out of fuel and you're going to have to come down hard. And this is what's happening here. I mean, you can't treat people like that. This is the same. It's almost like there's a school where they send these real deplorables to, not the Hillary Clinton deplorables. They're the ones. And they train these women how to, when they are in a power situation like Hillary and Michelle and Kamala, to just railroad people, walk up, because we know the stories about Hillary Clinton just absolutely decimating staff, yelling and belittling, degrading them, and here you are again. And so I'm just glad that some people speak up about it. The kid who writes the tweet, that's brown-nosing. He probably just walked out of a meeting where she just decimated everybody and she forgot about him, and it's like, oh crap, I better just...
I love my job.
I love my job.
I really do.
Just want you to know. I'll clean up your crap. I just love my job. No, but you are right. It's the leaders in society that don't look at politics as an avenue to make a life and go, no, I want to go, run an NGO or nonprofit, feed people, do something, go serve them. But unfortunately, we've now come to a place where we have to have a call upon the good citizens to say, maybe for the sake of the greater good, like the founding fathers, you may want to step away from your job where you do great and step in and come help save the country and come run for a lowly job like a mayoral race or a school board seat or run for governor and enter the cesspool, because we're kind of going to have to, because we've relegated politics to those people. Yeah. And now all of a sudden it's biting us, right? So I think it is time for us to step back in like our founding fathers did, the good guys, and say, okay, for the team called the United States, I'll step into my community, into this world of politics, and go take some of that back. And we see that happen with a lot of the conservatives. We see some of the normal business guys step back in and say, okay, let's do this, like our former president.
You have to wonder if the Democrats are in panic mode at this point. I mean, you see Joe Biden's poll numbers plummeting. You see Kamala Harris's poll numbers somehow worse than Joe Biden's. And I think they don't really have, I mean, look, Yaku, I know you think Newsom's their guy, but it's like if Newsom is the best they have.
Newsom, Beto, and then Booty Juice. I mean, those guys.
I'm not sure that's
Yeah.
how you
I thought
pronounce
it was booty
it.
gig. I thought that was how you said it. Is that not how you said it?
It's
a
just
gig?
a really unfortunate last name.
Yeah,
I
it is.
probably would change it if it were me.
If I was him, for sure.
But it'll
What
be
is his
interesting to
job?
see
What
where
does
they
he do? What
go.
does that guy do?
He's
Like
the
transport?
Secretary of Transportation.
What? No, but like,
Isn't it
what is their
What he
job?
does,
Commission.
what he does is when we have a supply chain crisis that
He
involves
steps in.
transportation. No,
No, he does
supposed
not.
he
to.
goes
Yeah, but that's
away
his
for
job.
maternity
His
leave.
job is supposed to step in, but he goes on maternity leave with his uterus and all. Off they go, right?
Yes.
They go have maternity leave.
I don't think that his husband
It's a
was
fake
like
job, man.
completely hurt during the birth of their adopted.
I don't think either
children.
of
It's
them
a
were
painful
as
delivery.
well.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a painful delivery.
For his husband?
Yeah,
They're doing things way
They
wrong at that hospital. I don't know what they're doing.
They want to convince you that they could have a delivery.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And the stretch marks to prove it.
Yeah. All right, we've got more to come, but first we want to thank our sponsor, Boll & Branch. So I don't know if you realize this, but unless you're me and you just never sleep, you spend a third of your life in bed. So having the right set of sheets can really actually matter a lot in your life. By the way, Christmas is around the corner. This makes the perfect Christmas gift when you get the pure organic cotton sheets from Boll & Branch. You are giving it to someone, they're going to go, you know what? This person really loves me. Thank you. Boll & Branch makes the highest quality sheets by doing things the right way, not the easy way. Okay, I got to tell you, I have Boll & Branch sheets, and I mentioned earlier, I don't ever sleep. So that is why these Boll & Branch sheets are such a big deal in my life, because when I do actually let my head hit that pillow, I get so much better restorative sleep having these Boll & Branch sheets on my bed. They make blankets also, pillows, throws, all with the same amazing quality. They've got holiday packaging too, so it's a one-stop shop for your Christmas gifts, all right? You got to give the gift that's going to keep on giving. And by the way, if you don't have Boll & Branch sheets on your bed, treat yourself. Also, get you or your loved ones the new standard in bedding from Boll & Branch. Their gifts come wrapped, ready for special holiday packaging, but you got to order by December 19th for guaranteed delivery by Christmas. So do not sleep on this. You got to go over there. They've got the best deals of the year going on now till Wednesday with promo code Y. That's WHY over at bollandbranch.com. That is BOLL and branch.com. Promo code Y. Exclusions may apply. If you are viewing the show, may be concerned about what is going on when it comes to the Chinese Communist Party, what is going on in China. Well, I'm sure you'll be thrilled to hear that the United States is finally taking a huge, huge stand, and they have announced an official diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Olympics, which basically just means that the Biden administration will not send any diplomatic or official representation to the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics and Paralympic Games. This is what Psaki said, given the PRC's ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity. But apparently not bad enough. It's not genocide that rises to the level of not sending our athletes or participating. So she says that the U.S. will support American athletes from abroad. The athletes on Team USA will have our full support. We'll be behind them 100% as we cheer them on from home. We will not be contributing to the fanfare of the games. So I'm sure, man, that is a shot fired. I'm sure China is shaking in their boots that we're not bringing our officials to the Winter Olympics.
I'm interested to see what the athletes are going to do, and if they're going. I think most of them will always go along with it, just because they look at it like this is my opportunity to shine. And as a former athlete, I can certainly understand that. But I think it also speaks to why on earth are people listening to these weirdos in their political positions when they too chicken crap to actually make a stand and actually lose something. I mean, we saw that with the NBA. Kyrie Irving's still the only one that was like, I ain't playing.
Right.
Everybody else is still freaking going out there to play, because once it starts to threaten their bacon, they're not actually going to do anything. This is why they need the league behind them to force everybody else to do it. Like you see right now, and you should know, soccer games, football games abroad, where they force kind of the players to kneel before they start the games. It's like, well, that's not actually a protest. You're not actually putting anything on the line there. But I want to see what the athletes do, because everybody knows it's not even an elephant in the room. It's like 3 or 4 elephants in there. We can't miss it. At every corner of the room, you can't miss it. That Chinese is crap. The Chinese government, rather, are crap. Not necessarily the people that are there, but what are you going to do about it? Right? Are we just going to continue to go along with everything? This is your opportunity.
Yeah.
The entire world could make a statement right now if the athletes said, you know what? No. We know all of this crap going on with China, and I know this is more of the Winter Games, but you know what happened with the tennis player that's out there as well. All right, how about you guys make a stand, not only just on behalf of your own people, but the people that are out there, unfortunately, being brutalized by their own government out there in China.
Yeah, unfortunately, the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, is corrupt, number one. They're very woke. But this,
don't they're allowing transgender men to compete against women? And,
they are so woke. They're so scared of it. And their president is a complete flake. To your point, this is a great moment to say, you know what, we're moving it to Poland, we're moving to Europe, we're moving to Aspen, we're moving it somewhere else because there's snow other places in the world and there's still enough time to do it. But the interesting thing here is the difference between, we talk NBA, these are amateur athletes. These are not professional athletes. So it's very different. These athletes, a lot of them have endorsements and they make money, but many of them that are upcoming, that are not, your stars in their sport, work a second job. Yeah. Remember the time when Home Depot had more Winter Olympic athletes that worked in Home Depot than you can imagine because they all work jobs. So for them, it truly is about the sport and the craft and saying, hey, this is their moment. So it's a disaster when you take that from the athlete, right? But secondly, I'm with you. I think these are the kind of athletes that the administration also know they're probably more conservative than any of the other athletes. So they go, you know what? We'll sacrifice these people. If we send them to communist China, they don't mean much to us, but we'll stay behind. And that's the statement we're going to make. It would be great, Eric, to see the athletes go, you know what? We don't support China. And so therefore, you have these Olympics without us. And we're going to hold, I'm so radical.
They have it in their own capacity to do their own thing.
I'm so radical. If I'm Red Bull right now, I'd say, you know what? U.S. athletes, you stay here. We're going to have a U.S. round of extreme sports in Utah.
Well, or even the Biden administration saying putting some sort of pressure on them to do the right thing, right? Like, look, we can't control what the American athletes do, but if it was up to us, we'd like for them to stay here because we can't trust that they're going to be safe when they go to China. That's how bad it is, right?
They
didn't do that.
No, sacrifice the athletes.
I mean, especially
it's political theater again. It's just theater.
And let's not even, take into account, obviously, the genocide and all of the horrible crimes against humanity. But let's also talk about all of the COVID-19 situation that originated there.
That's true.
That they covered things up.
And still to this day, the WHO has said that they haven't been complying or helping them out and trying to track what the heck happened.
Exactly.
I know.
And still we're going along with China like it's absolutely no problem, or rather with their government.
The world should boycott China.
That's what I'm saying.
The world should say, we're not spending a dime. Because, in Olympic Games, whether it's winter or summer, it's a cash influx.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you want it, or World Cup soccer, or whatever it is. Yeah. The world should say, sorry, no longer, no Olympic Games for you.
That's why. You've seen it. Obviously, this is why certain areas build up the entire city is built up within that span because they know they're hosting games.
Rio,
it's a big economic opportunity certainly for them. And I've said before here on the show, I do believe that China their economic power is largely overstated. They need this a lot more than I think a lot of people want to give them credit for. If you want to hit them where it hurts, this is your chance.
Yeah.
This is where it's your chance. This is where it hurts.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Really, do it. It's time. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back.
I would love to see Red Bull come out and go, you know what? All the U.S. athletes.
All right, this is where I ask all of you people, all of you friendly people who, I know that there's a lot of you who are watching on YouTube that watch every day, or you're watching on BlazeTV, you're watching on Pluto, wherever you are watching this program, or maybe you're already listening to the audio podcast, especially if you're already listening to the audio podcast. That's who I'm going to target today, okay? I'm going to bully you and tell you it
Kamala.
is, yes.
5 stars.
This is my Kamala impression, okay? You get your butt over to where it says subscribe and you subscribe to the show. You need to rate it 5 stars, obviously, or David Ginn loses his job, okay? And you need to give it a good review, because not only is there something in it for us, which means that more people will be able to find the show, which also kind of affects you because more people get the actual truth as opposed to listening to, the late Chris Cuomo. But also, you may see your review read on air, like the one today from Gramsci, who says, 5 stars, great show. This is where I get my daily dose of current event reporting. Fair, common sense, accurate reporting delivered with a big dose of humor and seasoned with appropriate righteous indignation. I really appreciate all you guys. Love this podcast. Thank you so much, Gramsci. I know I was just talking to, we have a guest here today, Levi, and I was just talking to him like, the news really sucks and it's really depressing, and we do our best here to at least make it, as enjoyable as news can be, right?
We need to have a behind-the-scenes show one day where we don't break away in between the breaks and people see how fun it really is.
I don't know.
Yeah,
what you see is what
comes
you
out.
get here. It is every bit a disaster. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you guys tomorrow.